Namaste and hello. Welcome to the light within. I wish you a very happy new year. This is our first podcast of the year 2024. I wish all that you have hoped for and aspired for comes true in 2024. So let's begin with this episode. In this episode, we are going to talk about judging others and thoughts of being judged, what to do about it. I think all of us at some point have struggled with the negative loop of judging others or the question that why someone is judging us. It's an activity that we do on default because we've never questioned where is this coming from and how is it impacting our energy. This one default activity of making opinions about people can change your vibrations instantly, and before you know, you can put yourself through a negative loop which is very hard to break. The psychological and social aspect of judging others is that we want to feel safe. When we judge we label people, we feel righteous in our thinking, and that confirms our pre-existing beliefs. Sometimes we do it simply to connect and communicate with people. Think about that family member who you don't get along with, or that stakeholder at work who acts tough with you for no good reason. Think about how many times they are a part of your conversation with your closest friend. Your conversations are loaded with ranting about them and how what they are doing is not right and what you are doing is right. There are many aspects as well, but let's focus on the energy aspect of when you judge others or when you feel others are judging you. Whatever the reasons, one thing is for sure, that it does no good to anybody involved. It does not elevate you, it only pulls you down. The fact is that you're exposing yourself to a great amount of suffering if you feel judged by someone who is in the immediate family or at workplace. Now, I'm not saying that it can't be true. You could have people, in fact, a lot of us already have people around us who don't like us, but your focus should not be to deflect them or to analyze and find out the reasons. Your focus should be to protect your own energy by not giving them too much of importance. And here also, you might just say that, Shama, I am not spending any energy about talking to these people with my friends or colleagues or anybody else. But let me tell you one thing, you might be talking to yourself. So it's very hard as humans to not give attention to something that's bothering them, right? So we give a lot of headspace to people who we are not happy with, or maybe they are not happy with us, and we go wild with our imaginations in terms of what do they think about us and how can we correct that, because it is, let's accept, not a nice feeling to have. And now, one more thing which is important is that if you are following your spiritual practices and you are putting enough effort to pull yourself up and putting a lot of efforts into self development, only this one bit of the habit of judging others, creating opinions about others, or getting impacted when others are judging you can pull your energies down significantly without you even knowing. Sometimes we know that this is the reason why I'm feeling low, but a lot of times you won't even know that, subconsciously, because this becomes a subconscious practice of, you talking about somebody and not saying nice things about them. You think you're not doing anything wrong because you feel righteous in doing it, but the point is that you are emanating a negative energy, and what you are giving out is something that you're going to get back as well. So without you even knowing, something is happening somewhere which doesn't feel nice. So even if all the spiritual practices are in place, yet half of your time goes into thinking or talking about one specific person who's not nice to you, all the hard work is gone, trust me. Now, let me share with you how this habit of either analyzing people or making opinions about them or getting impacted when people are doing it to you impacts you at an energetic level. When I'm saying energetic levels, I want you to understand from our energy center point of view, which is our chakras. So, when it comes to negative thoughts about a person impacting your chakras, it's important to note that interpretations may vary based on different belief systems because each one of us is unique. Okay, and here I am going to share a few general perspectives on how negative thoughts about people or getting impacted by their judgments might be seen in relation to the energy systems or the chakras that you have in your body. So, we'll start with the first chakra, which is the Mooladhara or the root chakra. So, the root chakra is associated with feelings of security, stability, and connection to the physical world. That is the very basis of your existence in this world, right? Constant negative thoughts about someone may contribute to a feeling of insecurity and instability. This could potentially affect the balance of the root chakra, disrupts person's sense of groundedness or belongingness. So when you're sending negative energies to other people, you're actually impacting your own connectedness or the groundedness with the universe. Let's move on to the next chakra, which is the sacral or the Swadhisthana chakra. The sacral chakra is linked to your emotional well-being, pleasure, creativity. How these kind of thoughts impact your sacral chakra is that it may hinder creative expression and disrupt the emotional balance, potentially impacting the sacral chakra. Understand it like this: if somebody is sending me negative energy on a regular basis, I will obviously get emotionally impacted by it, right? We are emotional creatures. So I may either confront the person or I may suppress that feeling. So, emotional suppression or imbalance is associated with this energy center, and you need to be very careful if um, judging other people on a regular basis, or you're not able to handle the negative energy that you're receiving from other people. It shouldn't come to a stage where it starts impacting your energy centers, right? Now, moving on to the next chakra, which is the Manipura or solar plexus chakra. This chakra is associated with personal power, confidence, your self worth, and self esteem. Okay, it's very natural to understand that this is probably the most impacted chakra because consistent negative thoughts about someone can impact your self confidence and self worth, potentially affecting the solar plexus chakra. It may lead to the feeling of powerlessness or a diminished sense of personal strength because you do get affected if for a long period of time somebody is sending you that kind of energy, or if you are the one who's sending that energy to them and you're using the energy in a negative way, right? Consistent negative thoughts about someone can erode self confidence and self worth, potentially affecting your solar plexus chakra, and it may lead to feeling of powerlessness or a diminished sense of personal strength. So, if somebody around you doesn't have a high opinion about you and you take their opinions very seriously, then over a period of time you might feel a little powerless in front of them, or you might just because you're taking their words seriously, it might affect your sense of worth. Now, whatever I'm telling you in the sense of how these things impact your chakra, it doesn't happen in a day or two, right? It is for a very, very long periods of time. If subconsciously something like this is happening and you're not aware about it, or you have habituated yourself to either receive or to give negative energy to people, it is 100% sure that your chakras are going to get affected. Some chakras are going to get affected less than others, but because it's an energy system, it's interconnected. one chakra not functioning well is going to affect the other chakra as well, right? So I'm explaining the energetic effects of judgments that we are very, very used to in these days and times, right? Moving on to the next chakra, which is the heart chakra or anahata. It's linked to love, compassion, and emotional balance. Now, negative thoughts can create emotional discord and potentially affect one's ability to express love and compassion. Now, this is a no brainer because, in a sense, we are made in the energy of love, right? Talking negatively about people or receiving negativity from others can deprive us of the love that we are capable of giving and receiving. So, this may influence the balance of the heart chakra and impact our relationships with others and ourselves as well. Moving on to the next chakra, which is Vishuddha or throat chakra. The throat chakra is related to communication, self expression, and our authentic self. So, a sense of authenticity, right? Negative thoughts may contribute to communication difficulties or inhibit the authentic self expression. So, example is that you want to voice out your discomfort to this one person who's acting tough with you on a consistent basis, but you can't do it for whatever reasons. Maybe they are up in the hierarchy if it is at workplace, or maybe they are a family member and you don't want to confront them and create more conflict. Whatever it is, you are creating impediments in the flow of energy, right? So this can potentially impact the throat chakra, leading to challenges in expressing thoughts and feelings. And this can be looked at vice versa also. If you are having any challenges in terms of communicating effectively to people, think about what's going on in the background, right? That's another lens that you can look at these things from. Now, moving on to the next chakra, which is the ajna or third eye chakra. This chakra is linked to intuition, perception, and inner wisdom. Constant negative thinking about yourself or about others might cloud your intuition and hinder clear perception. This could potentially affect the balance of your third eye chakra, impacting your ability to tap into the inner wisdom. Judgments, whether it's you who's judging others or it's someone else who's doing it to you, they create a wheel, and hinder your ability to see clearly. And our third eye chakra is a very, very powerful chakra, which helps us to put things into perspective and see clearly as to what is happening. When you allow yourself to fall into the traps of gossiping, or in general just talking bad about people, or you're not very careful of protecting yourself from the judgments that are coming your way, in some way or the other, your ajna chakra also gets impacted. Now, the last chakra that we have is the sahasrara chakra, which is the crown, which is also called the crown chakra. This chakra is associated with spiritual connection, enlightenment, and higher consciousness. Now, persistent negative thoughts may create a mental clutter and disrupt a sense of spiritual connection. This is going to definitely impact your crown chakra, affecting your connection with the higher states of consciousness. So, that was the last chakra. And when you're wasting your time in judging others, talking about others, thinking why others are judging you, or taking their opinions too seriously, the most affected chakras are Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, and Ajna chakra. Now, if you want to understand, I have just given you a brief idea about how it gets affected. But if you want to go into more details, then read about them a little more and understand how our thoughts, whether we are sharing them out loud with people or not, can significantly impact our energy centers. The idea is to move the energy up from your root chakra or Mooladhara chakra. The idea or the goal is to take the energy up to the Sahasrara chakra, right? If you are allowing yourself to take part in criticism, in gossip, in judging others, you're pulling that energy down. So you're going to the base of your energy again. And that's not why we are here. We are here to lift our energy and lift our consciousness. So think of it like this: from root chakra, your intent or your goal should be to move the energy up, and hence the quality of your thoughts has to be light, has to be pure, has to be something that could lift other people and not to pull them down. Because if you're pulling people down, you're pulling yourself down as well with them. Now, another aspect here is that you have to remember the karmic perspective of judging others as well. It is not just the action, it is also the thought that precedes the action. So, if you're spending your energy in thinking negatively about others and or thinking why someone is thinking negative about you, you're accumulating a lot in your karmic account. And those are not assets that you're accumulating. You're accumulating a lot of liabilities for which you'll have to pay, depending on the intensities of the thoughts. There's a simple rule that I follow in my life whenever I feel judged by others, or I'm judging people, is that I just say, God bless you, and I move my attention to something productive. I know it sounds very um, maybe it sounds too easy, or it sounds too good to be true, but I actually do that because as somebody who is extremely sensitive, I get very very uncomfortable if I get to know that somebody is purposely sending me negative energy, or somebody is thinking negatively about me, while I may not have done anything wrong, right? And so I want to correct the situation, I want to just jump into the action and fix the situation. I'm somebody also who's not very comfortable with conflict, so I would avoid conflicts at all costs. So if you are like me, the chances of suffering are even more because you're not ready to confront the situation. In these cases, if you want to still feel light and you want to kind of get away from that negative mindset, the best thing is that you say that in your mind, you just say that God bless you. You just want to detach yourself from the situation and move on to something productive, and you've reduced the intensity of the situation or whatever was impacting you. Now, let me also share with you a few more ways which can help you change the direction of your thoughts. Okay, the first way to change the direction of your thoughts is to understand that people have bigger battles in life rather than focusing their energies on you. So, when you feel judged by others, you go in the negative loops of thinking, and it is almost impossible to redirect your thoughts to a positive direction. I'm not saying you should, because you cannot move a train which is running with 100 miles an hour in the east direction and just directly pull it back to the west direction. You can't do that. You have to wait for it to neutralize, and then you pull it back to the other direction, right? So, in this case, at least when you realize this, you remind yourself that you are not the center of their universe. They have bigger issues in life, and hence you should focus on yourself rather than letting your imagination go wild with various scenarios. You know nothing about what's going on in people's life and why they are behaving this way, what are their fears and insecurities. We actually have no clue of what people go in their heads, right? So why make such presumptions and assumptions? What do you think? They will fight those battles, or they will concentrate on you? You're not as important as you think you are. I know it sounds a little harsh, but it is true, right? How much we think about ourselves, other people are not thinking as much about us. So we think that people have no other agenda in their life but to criticize us. Even if it is true, who's asking you to believe them? So let's stay true to ourselves and take the feedback that we genuinely think is for our own good, and we focus on our growth. That's it. Leave the rest. Let people live their lives and you live yours. The second perspective that I want to share with you is that it's not world versus you. Develop a mindset of oneness. So we are often caught with this mindset that it is the world versus us. Barring a few who are probably our friends or our loved ones, we think that most people are either neutral or on the opposition side. I'm sure you have seen those political discussions on news channels. Both the parties just go on and on and on, and there's nothing anyone gets out of it. Audience is the biggest loser because they are served with that nonsense. But even those who stage the drama, the channel in this case, are completely drained out at the end of it. Our social environment serves us with division and not oneness. So I don't blame you, I don't blame myself if, in my head I'm thinking of more division than oneness. It's something that we have been fed with. But if you have the awareness, you have to consciously take an action to think that we are all one. It is a fact that we are all connected with everyone around. We have come from the same source, we have come from the same energy, and that is the reason that division and conflict feels extremely uncomfortable. Now, I urge you to put this into practice. Just try a few times. Let me give you an example to you so you can understand this better. Have you seen an injured animal or a child on the roadside in dismal conditions? Do you remember your reactions when you noticed something like that? How brokenhearted did you feel? Didn't compassion and empathy flood through your veins when you noticed something like that? It is because you feel connection with them. In your hearts of heart, you know that they are not alien. There's some connection with them somewhere. You may say that how do you expect me to be compassionate when someone is criticizing me on purpose, or someone is being mean to me, or judgmental? Isn't it them who are wrong? Yes, maybe they are. I'm saying that you keep your focus on yourself only and not on them. It's easy to feel compassion for the poor, for the downtrodden, or children or animals because they do not threaten us in any way. But when we are talking about grown adults, our egos come into the picture. Our egos are so huge that we can't see beyond. We only see what we want to see. So every time I've reminded myself that I'm connected to everyone, even to my worst critic, I'm telling you, I've felt a sense of immense peace. It's a feeling which is very hard to describe. I think it's because of the understanding that, when you're looking at somebody who's not at the same level as you, it's easy to feel compassion. But when you're talking about grown adults or people who are either in on a pedestal or at the same level, it's very hard for your ego to give up. And that's why you don't feel the love and the compassion and the, you can't give up. You just feel like, no, I am right and you're wrong, and that is a battle which is a lose lose for both the parties. I'm not saying that you should not stand up for yourself. All I'm saying is that remind yourself multiple times that we are one and we were created from the same source. And let me tell you one more thing: you cannot strengthen your connection with the divine unless you give up judgment. As I said earlier, our objective is to move towards the higher consciousness. The thoughts that pull your energy down or pull somebody else's energy down, for which you are the source, is not going to let you help you build your connection with the divine, because divine is oneness, divine is love, and anything in the direction of judgment or criticism is a vibration far away from love and oneness. So remind yourself often that it's not world versus you, it's you and the world, and you are one with everyone. Now, the third perspective, and this is more, I think, practical to follow, which is develop and maintain a razor sharp focus on self growth. This is also one of my favorite. Every time you're wasting your time in judging others or thinking why others are judging you, you are depriving yourself from the amazing moments you have in hands. There's no bigger blessing than being alive and healthy, I'm telling you. If you're listening to me, chances are that you are leading a great life from physiological perspectives, and even psychological perspectives. Remember Maslow's hierarchy? At the bottom of the pyramid, we have the physiological needs, and then there is safety, and then there is love and belonging, self esteem, and then finally self actualization. Now, you may not like to hear this, but there are so many who are not as privileged as you and me, and hence isn't it our responsibility to take ownership of our lives and at least not let it go waste? What is a waste, you might ask? Well, if you have not started exploring your potential, then I'd call it a waste. If you have not pushed yourself enough in places where you are uncomfortable, then it's a waste. Overall, if you have not put your thoughts around how you can make a difference in people's life, then it is a waste. I'm not saying you should just go around and start advising people on multiple matters. No, I'm just saying that keep your energy aligned by not getting into criticizing people, judging people, or accepting or getting affected by when others are judging you. Okay, let's do the best we can wherever we are and imbibe the qualities of kindness, compassion, and love. That is absolutely enough. Now that I've shared the three perspectives with you, the truth is that no one is thinking about you as much as you are thinking about yourself. Isn't that true? It's absolutely true, right? Hence, if you're stuck with the notion of how am I being perceived about others, what are people thinking about me, you are the one who's criticizing people, then please stop. Please stop. You simply have to be firm with yourself and redirect your thoughts to a productive space. Most of the times, we let our thoughts go beyond and say that he or she doesn't like me, or he or she has a problem with me, etc. Look, thinking like that is a lost battle, because even if it were true, how many people are you going to keep changing yourself for? Why do we let our imaginations run in the wrong direction? We don't change ourselves for anyone, isn't that true? Unless our external circumstances push us, or we awaken to the fact that there is something that we need to change in our lives, we don't move an inch. So, thinking about so and so doesn't like me is an absolute waste of time. You have to like yourself, and that's about it. Think of yourself as an energy emanator and the impact your energy is creating on others. You know, if you had to do an audit for only today, what are the likely results you will have? Would you be able to share with others? Ask these questions to yourself, because although it may sound impractical to completely stay away from criticism or gossip or judging others, it is not impossible. You can reduce it, you can stay conscious of it, and slowly you will realize that you've been able to channel your energy to much better places. If you had to ask me, focus on strengthening your connection with God instead. So, in this episode, we talked about judgment, the energy aspect of judgment, whether it is you who's judging someone or someone else is judging you. And we also discussed perspective about how you are not the center of people's universe. Develop a mindset of oneness and develop a razor sharp focus on your self growth. So, this is all that I have in this episode. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I will see you in the next episode. Until then, keep shining the light within.